Hello, my YouTube workout buddies. I hope you're all doing reasonably well. In this vlog, I'm going to talk about my experience in self-isolation, what I've been up to, and I'll also show you some of the meals I've been eating recently. So I've been in self-isolation for just over 4 weeks now. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, where the situation is honestly not that bad compared to what is going on around the world. As of today, which is April 12th, 2020, we have about 1,400 cases of coronavirus in BC and about 90 cases on Vancouver Island, which is where I live. I went into quarantine a bit earlier than most people around here because on March 6th and 7th, I attended the Pacific Dental Conference, which we found out a few days later had several confirmed cases of COVID-19. After attending the conference, I ended up really ill myself, not from the coronavirus, but from influenza B. I was in bed with a fever for a week, and the Monday that I was ready to go back to work, all of the dental offices in my province had shut down. So I haven't worked since March 4th. And for those of you who don't know, I am a dental hygienist. I think that due to the nature of our work in the dental field, which creates a lot of aerosols and spatter, dental professionals are going to be among the last people returning to work once this whole thing blows over. And as a side note, I really encourage all of you guys to take extra good care of your teeth right now because it could be a long time before you're able to get your teeth cleaned again. So make sure you're flossing at least once a day and brushing at least twice a day for 2 to 4 minutes. Certain bacteria in your mouth, if you have pathogenic ones related to gum disease, which many people do, most people do, honestly, these bacteria are associated with systemic inflammation, which also affects your immune system. So seriously, do not slack off on flossing right now. I know it can be hard to stay motivated, but just do it anyways. Speaking of motivation, the first 2.5 weeks of quarantine were really rough for me. I had absolutely no motivation to do anything other than eat, watch Netflix, and go for short walks. Like many of us, I was going through a psychological crisis. I was, and still am, scared for myself, scared for the community, and the world at large. I felt helpless because my ability to work and take care of myself had been taken from me. And those of you who are wondering, I make about $400 to $500 a month from YouTube ad revenue. So while at least it's something, it's obviously not enough to live on. I felt depressed because I had to cancel my plans to start grad school this year as well. I think the hardest thing for me to deal with was this feeling of no control or powerlessness. Things seemed very bleak and I felt like I was drowning. But about a week and a half ago, things kind of shifted. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think it was a combination of a few things. I just kind of accepted the situation and stopped wishing for different circumstances. And I realized that, hey, I'm actually okay right now. In this moment, I'm okay. I decided to give myself permission to enjoy myself as much as possible. Worrying about where I would be financially in a couple of months was doing literally nothing for my current situation. Reprimanding myself for being lazy and unproductive wasn't getting me anywhere either. So I stopped. I gave myself permission to do absolutely nothing without chastising myself for it. And that's when I started feeling a little bit better. It felt like this horrible black fog that was pushing down on my brain basically lifted overnight. I started to feel somewhat happy and at peace again. I started to feel motivated to move my body. I started making workout videos again. And that's pretty much where I'm at now. I've accepted this situation as much as possible, and I've decided to make the most out of it. Not in terms of productivity, but just in terms of the amount of enjoyment that I'm able to feel and derive from the situation. So, because of these mental gymnastics, I'm now having a pretty good time in quarantine. I get to sleep in as long as I want, prepare lots of good, healthy food, read, go for walks, sit on park benches in the sunshine and do short meditations, go for bike rides, make videos when I feel like it, watch as much YouTube and Netflix as I want without a drop of guilt. I have to say, this is a good time to be an introvert. I've been video chatting or just talking on the phone with family and friends most days, but even more than a couple of phone calls and I feel kind of drained. I have a really limited social battery, so not having to go to work and interact with people all day long feels really refreshing. This has been a challenge for me throughout my life because I do like being around people, but at the same time, small talk or being around groups or being in groups of people is mentally depleting for me. I'm always straddling the line between feeling connected yet drained and being mentally recharged yet feeling socially isolated. Something that I find really therapeutic is being able to be around people without having to talk to them. That's why I love going to a coffee shop and just working there for a few hours, or going to the gym and having that camaraderie and being able to people watch and, see what they're doing, but not necessarily having to have conversations with them. So yeah, right now I'm glad I'm an introvert because I can only imagine how difficult this situation must be for extroverts, especially those who are living alone. And I'm by no means unconcerned with what is happening right now, and I'm well aware that things could get a lot worse for all of us. My mind tends to go to these dark places, and pushing those thoughts away is a constant struggle. And truthfully, I'm not confident in my ability to handle many of the worst case scenarios that run through my head. Like everyone, I have my strengths and weaknesses, but unfortunately, handling crises is not one of my strengths. But for the most part, I've gotten myself out of the panic spiral that I was in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm enjoying the quarantine as much as possible. All right, let's shift gears here. Before I show you some of the meals I've been eating, I want to talk about my diet. So in January, I began following Mike Heal Your Gut Guy's protocol, and I'll leave his YouTube channel in the description box below in case you're curious. The first phase in his protocol is on healing and resealing the gut. And aside from a few minor setbacks that I had from incorporating dairy and just cheating on the diet in general, I feel I've made a lot of progress. For the first couple of months this year, I really focused on easy to digest foods that did not irritate my gut at all. So I was eating mostly meat and especially ground meat. In February, I was feeling like my digestive system was strong enough to start handling some cooked vegetables again, so I started adding in small amounts. Another reason I started adding in vegetables was because I started taking spore-based probiotics, and I wanted to give those bacteria the right type of prebiotics in order to help shift the balance of my microbiome. More recently, I've been eating some fruit too. Usually it's 1 or 2 pieces of fruit per day, such as an apple, an orange, or a banana. So basically, my diet now consists of meat, eggs, non-starchy vegetables, fruit, raw honey, maple syrup, and small amounts of coconut products. I'm feeling really good eating this way. I have great, consistent, healthy digestion, and my eczema and psoriasis is slowly healing. I'm not going to show any before and after pictures here because I want to wait until I get more dramatic results, but I'm definitely seeing improvements. What I've learned through all of this is that the main triggers for my eczema, psoriasis, and bad digestion are nuts, sugar, grains, chocolate, dairy except for butter, and legumes, which is really sad because my favorite things in the world are peanut butter and chocolate. And I had a few slip-ups like I mentioned, and every time the eczema on my hands would flare up and it would look like the skin on my hands was peeling off. But I think that in the future I will be able to have small amounts of these foods because I just feel like things are improving. So now I'm at a place where I think my gut is pretty healed, or at least it's healed enough where it can withstand some herbal antimicrobials. The next phase in Mike Heal Your Gut Guy's protocol is infection killing. I know from a microbiome test that I did a while back that I have an imbalance of bacteria and fungi in my gut. And for the next few weeks, I'm focusing on reducing the amount of bad bacteria and fungi in my system. I'm doing this with caprylic acid, berberine, and oil of oregano. There's a lot of different herbal antimicrobials that you can use for this. This is just what I decided to use. Also, for the next few weeks, I'm going to be reducing the amount of honey, maple syrup, and fruit that I eat in order to make the antimicrobials more effective. So I hope this works and wish me luck. So with that being said, let me show you some of my recent meals. So like I said, I'd been eating a lot of ground meat, and here's an example of that. I just got a regular beef patty from the local butcher shop, and then I formed it into little meatballs and put them in the air fryer. And to complete the meal, I just fried up a couple of eggs in some butter. And one thing I really like doing is dipping things in raw or runny egg yolks. In terms of vegetables, I've been eating a lot of Brussels sprouts, and on this day I just steamed them and then put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, salt, and a little bit of raw garlic on them. For a while there, I was making these coconut egg sort of pancakes for breakfast, which are really tasty and I do like them. But I noticed that coconut flour, if I have too much of it, it kind of constipates me. Something about the rough fiber, it's kind of gritty, and I don't know, it just irritates my digestive system a little bit. So I found a better alternative, which I'm going to be showing you at the end of this video. But yeah, for this recipe, I just beat 2 eggs, added some vanilla powder, a couple tablespoons of coconut flour. I don't really have an exact recipe, I just kind of did whatever. And then I would just fry it in the cast iron skillet in a little bit of butter. And I would also top it with butter and honey. And yeah, it's super delicious. It's just not flawless digestion with it. Let's just say that. This next meal here is definitely one of my staples because I just love it so much, and it's very economically effective, I guess, because ground beef is one of the cheaper types of meat you can get, obviously. And so all this is ground beef, cabbage, garlic, and onions all just cooked together in one cast iron pan. And then if I'm feeling fancy, I will also top it with a fried egg, but not all the time. Another one of my staple meals would look like this, and it's just a roasted chicken leg with also some roasted Brussels sprouts with, again, garlic, olive oil, and salt. Here is another similar meal. Lately I've been loving using my air fryer to cook chicken wings. So I just put them in there for about 20 minutes, and while that's, frying up, then I use my oven and I roasted this slab or slice of cabbage with, guess what? Olive oil, garlic, and salt. Are you starting to see a pattern here? So this is 2 turkey drumsticks roasted with Brussels sprouts and rainbow carrots, also in olive oil, garlic, and salt. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I've switched from making the coconut flour pancakes to more of a carnivore based pancake. And I got the idea from Strong Sistas on YouTube and Instagram, and they have this carnivore tortilla recipe that is just blended eggs with chicken. Or you blend the eggs and the chicken together. So what I did for this pancake is blended 2 eggs with a small chicken breast, fried it in the cast iron pan in a little bit of butter. Sometimes I like to add a couple strips of bacon on top before I flip it, and then I just eat it with a bit of butter and some maple syrup or sometimes raw honey, and it's honestly really good. I know it sounds weird and kind of disgusting, but the chicken is really neutral, and it doesn't taste like you're eating chicken. It just kind of tastes like a pancake, and I really enjoy it, and the digestion that I experience with that versus the coconut flour pancakes is much, much better. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I will leave you with this clip of me kind of awkwardly dancing. I'm dancing here to Megan's set that she streamed live on YouTube not too long ago. But having living room dance parties is a pretty regular thing for me. It's one of my favorite things to do, not just during quarantine, but before. Usually every day or every other day, I would have some sort of random living room dance party by myself. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog and just some random chit chat with me. Let me know how you guys are doing in the comments, or if there's anything you'd like me to make more videos about or talk about or whatever. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you guys soon.